Today we're looking at President Andrew Johnson. Hello, welcome to the Daily Bellringer. Please don't forget to subscribe and take a look at the questions down in the description. Also, don't forget to check out dailybellringer.com where you'll find more resources that go with many of the Bellringer videos. Andrew Johnson was the 17th President of the United States from 1865 to 1869 and was a member of the Democratic Party. Johnson was the first president in U.S. history to assume the office of the president after the assassination of the previous president with the death of President Abraham Lincoln at the hands of assassin John Wilkes Booth. Johnson assumed the role of president just as the United States was coming out of 4 years of a bloody civil war and would need to begin the process of Reconstruction. Andrew Johnson was born on December 29, 1808 in Raleigh, North Carolina, the son of Jacob Johnson and Mary McDonough. Both of Johnson's parents were poor and illiterate, or in other words, they couldn't read or write. When Andrew was only 3 years old, his father Jacob died, leaving his mother to be the primary provider for Andrew and his two siblings. By the age of 10, Andrew began working in a tailor's shop as an apprentice, learning to sew and mend clothing. While here, customers would come in and would many times bring books, which led to Andrew learning to read as his formal education was rather sporadic and not consistent. Johnson became a lifelong learner and would read every book he could get his hands on. By the time he was 18, he, like many other Americans, were looking to move west. In 1826, Johnson moved to Greenville, Tennessee, where he opened his own tailoring business. The following year, in 1827, he married Eliza McCradle, and together they would go on to have 5 children together. Over the next few years, Johnson's tailor shop grew and became very profitable, making him one of the leading citizens of Greenville. By 1829, he began his political career being elected as a town alderman in Greenville, and then soon after, in 1835, he was elected to the Tennessee House of Representatives. Like many others at the time, Johnson became an enthusiastic supporter of Andrew Jackson and began to align himself with the Democratic Party. As Johnson's success grew, so did his financial means, and during this time period, Johnson bought up large pieces of property in and around Greenville, but also purchased several enslaved people to work on his properties. In 1843, he won election to the United States House of Representatives, where he would serve for the next 10 years. During this time, Johnson spoke out in favor of states' rights and took a position in favor of the expansion of slavery, arguing that the federal government had no right to interfere. In 1853, Johnson was defeated in his re-election bid in the House, but returned to Tennessee and was elected governor of the state. Johnson served as governor of Tennessee until 1857, when he was elected to the United States Senate. Soon after, division began to tear the nation apart as the country headed towards civil war. The issue of secession from the Union became the primary issue for southern states such as Tennessee. Johnson took a very pro-Union stance and argued against any state leaving the United States. In the end, Tennessee did secede from the Union, and Johnson had to flee the state fearing for his life. But Johnson was the only senator from a seceding state that did not abandon his seat in the U.S. Senate. Therefore, he caught the attention of newly elected President Abraham Lincoln. Early in the war, Lincoln appointed Johnson to be the military governor of Tennessee. Then, when Lincoln was running for re-election in 1864, Lincoln was looking for a running mate to be his vice president that would give the message of reconciliation between the North and the South. Therefore, he chose Southerner Andrew Johnson to be his running mate. Mere days, on April 14, 1865, after Lincoln was sworn in to his second term in office, Lincoln was assassinated, and in fact, Johnson had also been a target of the conspiracy, but the assassin lost his nerve and did not carry out his part of the mission. On April 15, 1865, Andrew Johnson was sworn in as the 17th president, only hours after Lincoln had died from his wound. Johnson's presidency was full of turmoil and conflict as the nation entered into a period of Reconstruction, attempting to piece itself back together after the Civil War. Furthermore, radical Republicans took control of Congress and attained such a majority that they could override any veto of a bill from Johnson, making him one of the weakest presidents in U.S. history. Johnson took a very lenient approach to Reconstruction, welcoming former rebelling states into the Union really without any punishment. This very much irritated the radicals in Congress. The Republicans had such a majority in Congress that they even sought to impeach Johnson and came within one single vote of fully impeaching him and removing him from office. To learn more about the impeachment of Andrew Johnson, check out my other video devoted solely to that. But in 1868, Johnson was unable to win the nomination of the Democratic Party to run for re-election. And in the general election, Republican and war hero Ulysses S. Grant easily won the presidency. Johnson returned to Tennessee and interestingly won re-election to the U.S. Senate in 1875. However, only a few months after being sworn back into the Senate, Johnson suffered a stroke and died on July 31st, 1875 at the age of 66. So with that, hopefully you learned something, and thanks for watching.